Why is it that we haven't gotten a new Christmas classic in the last 20 years? It's been more than 20 years since Elf came out. That was back in 2003. The issue is not quantity, it's quality. But what separates the goods from the greats? I'm breaking down the most remembered movies decade by decade to build the ultimate tier list. The real question is, can any of today's movies hit the great tier? Or is the era of Christmas classics truly over? To define greatness, we first need to establish our terms. Starting at the bottom, bah humbug. 2 sizes too small. Ho 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 hum. Merry and bright. Angels we have heard on high. And finally, Christmas miracle.
We wouldn't have been fighting all the time. If we did quarrel, it wouldn't have been over suitcases or handbags, but over something like whether your aunt or grandmother should live with us or not.
First off, 1940, we have Shop Around the Corner. This one had a solid enough plotline that they remade it twice. Once with Judy Garland and once with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. You've Got Mail is the newest addition.
What is that? What are you doing? You're taking all the caviar? That caviar is a garnish.
As a matter of fact, there might be a lot we don't know about each other. You know, people seldom go to the trouble of scratching the surface of things to find the inner truth.
Well, I really wouldn't care to scratch your surface, Mr. Crowley.
So Jimmy Stewart plays a grumpy shop manager trying to get through the holiday season, and one of his workers is very cheerful. And did I mention she's pretty? This movie is lovely, but there is room for improvement. It could be heavier hitting, like its grandchild, You've Got Mail. Which, funny enough, I'd put that one in mastery if it was even on the list. You've Got Mail is Christmas adjacent. But Shop Around the Corner is a Christmas film, and I'm gonna put it at Angels We Have Heard on High. It's got some greatness to it, but there's a reason not everyone has seen this one today. Because it's not for everyone. 1942, there's Holiday Inn, which plenty of lists consider a Christmas movie, but I don't. They open a holiday-themed hotel where they have song and dance numbers that are themed with whatever holiday has come up. There's just so many holidays that Christmas doesn't really stand out to me. Therefore, I am putting this in the Christmas adjacent bucket, which is its own category entirely. These are films that name drop or take place during Christmas, or they become a tradition to watch during the holidays and become associated with Christmas that way. They're not necessarily any less great than the Christmas films, but we aren't ranking them in this video. We're sorting them into the adjacent pile. 1945, we have Christmas in Connecticut. This is the beginning of the Christmas rom-com formula that feels pretty recognizable today. In fact, I kind of think they should remake this one. Our main girl is a proud modern woman living in New York, but she writes a column where she pretends to be this rural country girl who is just good at everything domestic. She is domestic goddess goals. So she's basically been catfishing the world, but there comes a time when she has to pretend to be the person she's already been pretending to be.
Invite me to join your Christmas party.
Think I have a farm, a husband, and a baby in Connecticut.
If he ever finds out we've been making all this up, he'll fire the both of us.
And she may or may not meet a very handsome man who makes her want to actually be that person.
You don't act as if you were married.
I don't feel as if I was married.
This one had a strong start. It didn't stay strong the entire time, but it stayed very cute. So I would put this one in Merry and Bright. Then we have It's a Wonderful Life, obviously tippity top tier. So Jimmy Stewart plays a man who is devoted to his family and to his community, but when things go wrong, terribly wrong, he gets to a dark place and starts thinking, wouldn't everyone be better without me? And this gives way to one of the most common tropes that we will see in every sitcom's Christmas episode.
You've been given a great gift, George. A chance to see what the world would be like without you.
And then we have Miracle on 34th Street. A young Natalie Wood plays a child who feels like she's too old to believe in Santa until she meets a jolly old man who makes her reconsider, while her mother meets a handsome man that is also making her feel young again. Miracle on 34th Street has some greatness to it. but I never feel like rewatching it, or at least there would have to be a long time between watches. I mean, every kid should probably see it once. Lovely to have going in the background. It makes me want to put it in Merry and Bright, but it's just too important to the Christmas canon, so it goes under Angels We Have Heard on High. And let's not forget The Bishop's Wife. This one is more obscure, but it still has some classic to it. People know it. Some people. People that love old movies. This one is strange because Cary Grant doesn't get the girl, and it feels weird because I believe Cary Grant should always get the girl. Strangely, I think Cary Grant might actually have more sex appeal in this one than anything else I've seen him in. They actually do still try to add a layer of sexiness, which is strange because he's an angel, but if they hadn't given us at least that, I would have complained. I like this movie. It is lovely and dull. Because it's dull, I want to put it in ho 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 hum. But sometimes it's lovely to be bored, you know what I mean? So it's going in Merry and Bright. Meet Me in St. Louis is one of my very favorites. Probably my second favorite. Like Holiday Inn, this one celebrates multiple holidays, but it's Christmas that really sticks out. Partly because the aesthetic is Victorian, and the Victorian aesthetic goes hand in hand with Christmas. Judy Garland plays a teenage girl named Esther, and the kids in their family are horrified when their dad tells them that they're going to be moving and this is the last Christmas they'll have in this home that they love. Esther makes sure to sneak in a first love romance while she still can, and she comforts her little sister by singing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. This is the movie where this song made its debut, and no one has sung it with more earnest emotion than Judy Garland. It's my favorite rendition of the song. If you would have asked me beforehand which decade I thought gave us the most Christmas classics, I would have thought the 50s was up there, but no. By my estimates, it gave us one Christmas classic, which happens to be my favorite, and that's White Christmas. They did come out with a highly praised rendition of A Christmas Carol, but we are only going to count A Christmas Carol once we come across the best rendition. I consider this the quintessential 50s film. It is jam-packed with 1950s innocence and charm. It's a musical with plenty of great songs. Rosemary Clooney has a wonderful voice. And of course, Bing Crosby. He sings White Christmas again, but the context is much better this time. Gets you a lot more invested. And Vera Ellen's dancing. You can't tear your eyes away from it. Danny Kaye proves that he's not a half-bad dancer, but what he contributes is the laughs. Obviously, since it's my favorite, it's another top tier. So the 40s came in hot. It was loaded with classics. And the big theme throughout was romance. Even when romance wasn't the main feature, it was still an important one.
I can't make it. I'm going to be very busy. Wait a minute, I'll join you.
So what did the 40s do right? It brought the feels, and I will tell you how. It's a Wonderful Life and Meet Me in St. Louis showcase relationships in the family and the home. Miracle on 34th Street highlights faith, but the big theme of the 40s, present in every one of these movies, is romance. Even when romance wasn't necessarily the main event, it was still a strong secondary focus. And on top of all of that, two of these movies brought us songs that we still listen to today regularly. And nothing brings the Christmas feels faster than music. You would think after the success of the 40s, we'd see a lot more Christmas rom-coms, but no. They go a totally different direction. The 60s brought us animation, and more importantly, with the animation, it brought lore. So that's going to be the contribution on every one of these animated ones. There's a ton of these stop motion, but we're going to just focus on the heaviest hitters, the ones we really remember. First off, 1964, we have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, from what I see now, that'll cut through the murkiest storm they can dish up. What I'm trying to say is, Rudolph, with your nose so bright.
This one has beautiful scenery, precious character design, and an iconic overall aesthetic. Easily a Christmas miracle. And then we have A Charlie Brown Christmas.
And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them.
Ho, 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 hum. 1966, here's a big one, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The character design is great, but no matter what, this would make it into the top tier by virtue of the song alone. And it's obviously one of the most influential Christmas archetypes. And then Frosty the Snowman.
Happy birthday!
This was a straight-to-TV special, but it has lasted the test of time. This one's kind of hard because I think it's not the most interesting. They didn't achieve great things with their animation like the previous ones. But the lore, it has such important lore. I want to say merry and bright. And then we have Little Drummer Boy. Ho, 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 hum. I always dreaded when this one came on TV. And then a lot of lists will mention The Apartment. What a joke. This is not a Christmas film. This isn't even Christmas adjacent, but I'll put it there. This is a rainy day black comedy. It begins with our heroine wanting to do herself in, which, I mean, that subject matter that can't be in a Christmas film. It's a Wonderful Life pulled it off. But I did not remember that Christmas was even a factor. If you can take Christmas out of it, it is Christmas adjacent at best. Santa Claus conquers the Martians? What the? It's probably kind of fun.
Don't you know toys are against the law?
1970, we have Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I'm gonna call that one a Christmas miracle. It's... no. It is great, but it's not at the level of Rudolph. Rankin Bass is its own thing, but Rudolph is so much more regularly watchable. It's just, this one is precious, and it's so important because it really contributes to how we understand Santa Claus to function.
The very first Christmas trees.
Then we get two versions of A Christmas Carol again. We are putting A Christmas Carol on pause. Black Christmas. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna call it Christmas adjacent. It does not give the Christmas feels. Or maybe it would be Bah Humbug. We're putting it away, but I'm offended by it, so Bah Humbug, it's going in Bah Humbug. Then finally we get some light back in our lives with 1974's The Year Without Santa Claus, another very important contribution to the North Pole lore. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas? What the? So again, the animation from the 60s and the 70s brought us lore, but it also brought us or showcased music. Think The Grinch, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman. The 80s give us one masterpiece, and that's A Christmas Story. This one is unique from what came before because it's told from the child's perspective, and it gives us a non-sugar-coated Christmas family experience. And it's only appropriate I put a movie named Scrooged under Bah Humbug. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if you show nipples in your movie, you're probably not even trying to be a Christmas film. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 2 sizes too small, much like a sweater. Gremlins, didn't even remember that Christmas was a part of this. Adjacent. Die Hard, great film. It would still be great if you took Christmas out of it. Adjacent. So that was the 80s, and the 80s were kind of an abomination. This is where we started losing our Christmas edge, making things just Christmas themed, Christmas flavored, not actually Christmas itself. Then again, the 90s got it back. Their heart, I mean. I feel like the 80s, for the most part, were the Grinch. And then in 1990, that's when their heart grew 2 sizes and they started just churning out the greats again. So now that we're in the 90s, I will tell you ahead of time what the 90s contribute. They give us busy parents who are obsessed with their work and need to be reminded that childhood is fleeting and it's not to be taken for granted. Starting with Home Alone in 1990. This is a perfect film. It's a Christmas miracle. And it was unique among 90s movies because it focused on a mother who was busy, who needed to reconnect with her child. Then we have Home Alone 2, and it's just as good or better than the first one. Breaks my heart they didn't get to make a third.
Extremely important. Would you please tell him that instead of presents this year, I just want my family back? No toys, nothing but Peter, Kate, Buzz, Megan, Linny, and Jeff. And my aunt and my cousins. And if he has time, my Uncle Frank. Okay?
And finally, we have the GOAT of Christmas carols, and that is a Muppet Christmas Carol. And somehow the aesthetic, the casting was just perfect. So it's a miracle. And it's a miracle they were able to breathe fresh life into this story. Then The Nightmare Before Christmas. Christmas adjacent. You can't have a creature like the Boogeyman and be more than Christmas adjacent. Then there's A New Miracle on 34th Street. It wasn't the most memorable. Then we have The Santa Claus in 1994. Another very busy dad who starts to really see his son when he himself has to take up the mantle of Santa. This is another one that really added to Christmas lore and how we think of Santa and how he operates. At least elves. It's what I think of elves and how they decorate up there. And then Jingle All the Way in 1996. The 90s just can't stop. They had cracked the code. And the code was making dysfunctional families function again. I think Jingle All the Way was underrated for a long time, but it is a perfect Christmas film. It explored a new angle of Christmas, and it acknowledged a very real problem of how toys get sold out.
I got the last one, sucker.
This is war.
The one masterpiece from the 80s had something in common with the many sensations from the 90s, and that is a focus on family. Even The Muppet Christmas Carol took this frequently retold story and found a way to make it palatable for the entire family, adults and kids alike. The Academy should be embarrassed they didn't give Jim Carrey an Oscar for The Grinch. I mean, for holding his face in that contorted way for as long as he did while giving a top-notch performance?
I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming. You know, and their parents go, "Oh, I thought it was makeup." You know?
No other actor could do what he did. At least hair and makeup did win an Oscar, and set design at least got a nod. But tell me if I'm wrong in saying this movie did not have all the feels during the final quarter. It was no 90s movie. This was officially the year 2000. The 2000s were the beginning of the end. The heart had been so strong in the 90s. The heart was still there, but it only had so many beats left. And then Elf is wonderful until it also does not stick the landing. I love rewatching the first 2/3 of the movie, and then it kind of loses its way. Probably sometime around when Santa's sleigh loses its way. In defense of the 2000s, they did give us some music. Where Are You Christmas from the Grinch? And the music in Polar Express was a downright masterpiece for the ears. If only it hadn't been so harrowing for the eyes. The 2000s doesn't seem to understand the whole concept of Christmas feels. I mean, they'll make you feel something, but it's always a little bit off. For instance, in Love Actually, it feels sweet when the guy from Walking Dead tells Keira Knightley's character that he thinks she's perfect and he's been in love with her for some time. But in doing this, he's betraying his best friend because this is his best friend's wife. And yes, his poster says he has no expectations. He's just being honest because it's Christmas. But maybe there's a reason he's doing this in secret. Maybe it's because he knows his friend would read into this as a huge betrayal, one that would end their friendship, which it has to end after this anyways, right? It feels off because they're telling us that betrayal can be wholesome and sweet. Okay, and can we talk for a second about how with one of those posters he shows her a lady's tits? She laughs because it's endearing and objectively funny when a dude flashes you with a member of your own gender. But I stand by what I said. If it shows nipples, it does not take itself seriously as a Christmas film. Then, in the holiday, people are hooking up and they're selling it to us as true love. And when we're expecting something real and uplifting, it just feels hollow and off. And then in The Family Man, Nick Cage's character is a big selfish business boy. But unlike the busy business boys of the 90s who forgot about their children, he never had children because he chose a career over starting a family with the love of his life. So instead of pulling an It's a Wonderful Life and seeing what everyone's life would be like without him, he gets to see what people's lives would be like with him. That is, he sees what would have happened if he would have decided to marry his sweetheart and take over the family business in this small, dusty town. I think I'm selling it as a little more interesting than it is, but by the end of the film, I was convinced that he had made the right call choosing his career, and I think the writers would agree with me. Honestly, I think they thought he should have chose the riches too. Because it felt like the strongest case they made for why he was better off with this life was that he had a strong sexual connection with this woman. And isn't that what Christmas is all about? It felt like the writers were tasked with writing about the spirit of Christmas when they themselves did not have it. Four Christmases had a very strong, very funny start with the first few minutes. After that, it's a Vince Vaughn film, which is not a Christmas film. If nobody at the movie party complains if you played in October, then it is adjacent. So tell me if you think people are going to be watching these movies 80 years from now the way we watch It's a Wonderful Life. We have Bad Santa, Bad Mom's Christmas, horror comedy Silent Night, action movie Violent Night, and we're not even trying for the pretense of uplifting feel-good movies anymore.
Where's your Christmas spirit?
Christmas horror films are becoming more common, along with celebrity rom-com cash grabs. So the 2010s either lost their way or completely gave up. 2019's Klaus feels like one of the only films that even try. The animation is absolutely gorgeous, but the storyline doesn't hold up its end, and the main character is unlikable. As I scoured the internet for great newer Christmas movies that I may have missed, there were two that stood out. The first was Arthur Christmas, and honestly I don't know how this one isn't a bigger deal. It was a lot of fun. They didn't quite get all the Christmas feels by giving the characters the arcs that they needed, but I could see myself watching it again. So I'd put it in Merry and Bright, but maybe as I sit with it, it'll become a great for me. And then Reddit was adamant that The Holdovers was a modern classic.
You don't tell a boy that's been left behind at Christmas that nobody wants him? What's wrong with you?
Let me tell you, I thought it was great. I really liked it and I will watch it again. But it was one hug away from being a Christmas masterpiece. Let's recap. When we looked over the past decades, we noticed that the holiday offerings were romance, lore, and family. But if you want to simplify, they were all about family. Even those early romances of the 40s. It felt like those couples thought of each other as the endgame real deal. We all imagine that when the movie closes, they're gonna go off and get married and have babies. Even with the lore of the 60s, it was made for the entire family to enjoy, for children and parents alike. And it doesn't need to be a conventional family. It doesn't even need to be people that are related, so long as they treat each other like family. So final thoughts. Can we make classic Christmas films today? I say yes. As long as we stop kidding ourselves into thinking there's a way to make shallow, hollow films uplifting, and we accept that the Christmas feels are all about family. It's achievable if we just believe. Once again, I'm Cameo. If you enjoyed yourself, don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next one.